predicted. Some of them went the other way. Again, we will have an expert in our 1 o'clock hour. We're reaching out to other lawyers now to see if they too are available. And then we bring you the beach. The shore is what we call it in the New Jersey area. That is Ocean City, New Jersey. And over the next several days, it might be the best place for you to be if you can be there. If you can step away from the office, step away from school. Why? Because the weather is going to be dangerously hot. Sue Serio, Kathy Orr, Scott Williams, our entire Fox 29 weather team is on that story. We're going to tell you what they think you will experience over the next couple of days. We're also going to tell you how to stay safe. We're with you throughout it all. And remember, it's a massive weekend here in Philadelphia, as there will be the final Philadelphia FIFA World Cup game. That happens on Saturday, which is the 4th of July. And then there will be just big celebrations of the country's 250th birthday, all culminating in a nighttime concert with the likes of Will Smith and Christina Aguilera. So just a lot of reasons to be outside. It's one of the reasons why we're going to talk about the weather and give you some advice on how to stay safe and have fun at the same time. Below, you do see the New York Stock Exchange. Right now, it's looking good. Earlier this morning, it was up and down. Many of the analysts said that was due to what was happening in the European markets. Remember, in Asia and in Europe, the markets open, understandably, hours ahead of us. So by the time it gets to the East Coast, there are some things, some decisions that have been made that then affect trading here. We know that there are two main sectors that basically affect the finances here in the United States. One of them is the tech side, AI, a big driver there, and then the energy side. Ever since the war with Iran, obviously, the price of crude oil, the price of gas, how that infiltrates down to the regular consumer, meaning how much am I paying for a carton of eggs? How much is my snacks that I want to have? It's all affected by the price of fuel. And the fuel prices really affect what's happening on Wall Street. And then, of course, we are still looking at Washington, D.C. Why? Well, again, it is the birthday of the United States. There's been a big Great American Fair happening there. You can see the Ferris wheel there, and it's pretty cool what they have there. But again, four main things are happening in and around our region. It is one of the reasons why we have all of them. And I have to say, there will be a lot of eyes on the Supreme Court throughout the day. The decisions were handed down. Some of them were different. We know that a divided Supreme Court on Tuesday upheld a broad conception of the birthright citizenship, rejecting the president's executive order declaring children born to people who are in the United States illegally or temporarily are not American citizens. Again, the Supreme Court, in a divided decision, rejected the president's opinion on birthright citizenship. The justices, because with that, relied on a long settled understanding of the 14th Amendment adopted after the Civil War and more recent federal laws in ruling that anyone born in the country, with very limited exceptions, will be a citizen. This has been debated since the time of NAFTA, since 1999, when people were coming across the border, mostly from Mexico, having children here. That is really when this big debate started, because the hospitals along the Texas-U.S. border were taking in a lot of people that at the time were not American citizens. And of course, the immigration debate is one that really has divided our country politically in the last 8 to 10 years. All right, the one thing that everyone can agree on, the FIFA World Cup and all of our new visitors are good for business. And we do mean the American fan business. They're also really good for ranch dressing. You heard me right. I said ranch dressing. And believe it or not, there is now a job that you can get called a ranch ambassador. Basically, you take ranch dressing all around the world. Two guys from our area, Spencer Howard, John Spina, are ranch ambassadors. One's from Haddon Township, New Jersey. One is from Langhorne. I'm glad you guys in the same spot. You're in London. Do I say hello?
Hello, Jen.
Okay, but you guys are in London, right?
Yes, we are.
All right. Which one's? Raise your hand if you're Spencer. I don't know which one's which.
That's me.
Hi,
I'm
Spencer.
the one from Haddon Township.
Okay, hi Spencer, and
How's
then
it going?
obviously you're John. Okay, so how did you find out about this job?
So my friend actually follows a bunch of like PR newswire opportunities and sent it to me and was like, this would be perfect for you and John. We know like you made videos together throughout the past year on TikTok and on Instagram Reels, and like, you know, you guys love to travel, you love food, you love to laugh together. This is the perfect opportunity for you guys. And we thought, you know, like, why not? So we threw our all into the application, and then here's where it led us to.
Yeah.
All right, so John, how does it work? Like you go to a restaurant and you squirt ranch on their fries, or you offer them a thing? How does it work?
Pretty much, honestly, we just find food that we think would pair perfectly with ranch. I mean, here in Europe, they don't have any ranch, as we've seen with the TSA everything, and they've been loving it. So it's kind of the concept of, do we think that this will ranch? And then we just go, order the food, squirt it on, and we try it.
Okay, but you're eating it yourself. Are you giving it to other people when you're there?
We are giving it out to a few people. We're going to do a couple videos, you know, seeing Europeans' reactions, seeing Americans' reactions to the food. Today, we actually visited the headquarters of Hidden Valley, and a bunch of the people in the office got to try it for the first time, which made for like a fun internal video. But yeah, there will be many opportunities for people to try ranch that haven't tried it before.
Wait a minute. Hidden Valley has an office in London, and none of them had tried ranch?
Very few of them had throughout their experience working under Clorox.
And then someone told me they call ranch dressing American dressing over there.
Yeah, they do. Because I feel like we don't realize as Americans how quintessential ranch is and kind of how that is like the flavor of America. So when you kind of see it through the European lens, they all are kind of like, yeah, ranch is like America's flavor.
I love it. And you guys are roommates at Syracuse University.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you do a study abroad already?
Yes.
We actually just got back from studying abroad in London this past semester, so it's good to be back to our temporary home.
Are your parents mad at you? I'd be mad. I'd be like, I want my kids home.
Yeah, they might be a little like, I'm sure my mom watching right now, she's like, John, we miss you. But they're all really excited. All of my family is so stoked about this opportunity.
Yeah,
So, okay, Spencer first. Spencer, what are you studying at Syracuse?
So at Syracuse, I'm a public policy and then a public relations major, and I have a minor in data analytics.
And then, John, what are you studying?
I'm studying advertising and entrepreneurship.
Okay, so brand management goes into both of the things that you're studying, as well as building your TikTok and your Instagram and all of that. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what's the craziest thing you've put ranch on?
Ooh. Okay, I personally love to pair ranch with a Philly soft pretzel. I know that's kind of a rogue choice,
John,
but
John. Okay.
it's good though.
Okay, I don't like mustard. It's better than mustard.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Okay, Spencer, you?
I would say the roguest thing I put ranch on was today in the office. We had like a spread for everyone to try ranch, and I tried it with an apple. Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
It was a really interesting flavor combo. So
You know what's funny?
I mean, it wasn't.
In Asia, they put mayonnaise on watermelon, so I've seen crazier things. Is there anything you won't put ranch on?
Honestly, no. I think ranch is like such an amazing flavor to just throw on, you know, whatever you can. If it can work on an apple, and it can work on French fries, and it can work on celery, and it can work on buffalo chicken dip, I feel like, you know, there's no territory that's like uncharted with ranch, that I feel like we can just, you know, throw it on anything and try it once. If it doesn't pair well for us, it might pair well for someone else.
Nothing's unranchable. You don't have to give me $1. Before this opportunity presented itself, did you guys have other internships lined up for the summer?
Yeah, so I was interning at a media buying agency in New York City that I unfortunately had to quit. However, very fortunately, got to quit for this opportunity.
John?
and I was just gonna do my TikTok. I love social media. It's super awesome to be able to have that be my job. So yeah, luckily I didn't have to quit anything. This is just another opportunity to make more content.
Your boss doesn't want me to give you a number, but like, are you making pretty good money over there?
It's really nice to be able to help my parents pay tuition. That's the best part about doing this whole thing is Syracuse is a pretty penny, so it's nice to help them out.
I love it. And how long have you been over there?
We just got here in Europe on on Saturday, but we were in Oakland before that at the Hidden Valley / Clorox headquarters in America, just to do some onboarding, some training, meet a lot of the team we'd be working with, and that sort of thing.
When you were over there and training, was there anything interesting, unique that you're telling your friends about that you learned about Ranch or the brand?
Ooh, we did hear a lot about like the history of the brand, like how it started, how it originated, and like the ranch that created Ranch, because it started on like a farm ranch. But there are a ton of flavors of ranch that I was not initially aware of. If anyone out there, go get some pizza and some buffalo ranch from Hidden Valley. It's to die for.
Wow. How long are you there?
In Europe or in London?
In Europe. How long's the internship or the opportunity?
It's around 7 weeks, or I think 50 days total.
All right. Well, when you guys come back, I want fish and chips, and I want to have an in-person ranch opportunity. Deal?
All right, deal. We're there.
I'm really proud of you guys. We're kind of best friends now, and I'm just really happy for you.
Thanks so much, Jen.
Yeah, thank you.
Ranch ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is a job. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us.
Yeah, thank you for having
us.
Okay. Tally ho. Ta-ta for now. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break and be right back. By the way, I love ranch. I'm available for ranching. We're getting some information about the city of Los Angeles. You see it right there. That's the airport. This is coming from Shams Car. Oh, they switched it. All right, but basically, LeBron James says that he will continue his basketball career for the 2026-2027 season, and he has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on without him. Thank you. That is Los Angeles. So he will be using LAX, that airport, potentially to go somewhere else. I'm going to say it again. This comes from Shams, one of the big NBA insiders. It is breaking in terms of sports world. LeBron James will continue his NBA career for the 2026-27 season, and he has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on without him because he will play elsewhere. This is coming to us from Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul. You know this if you follow the NBA. Rich Paul and his team of agents, they really have their hands in so many different player deals. So many people are now represented by Clutch Sports, and it really began several years ago with LeBron James. It will be interesting to see where his son will play. It will be interesting to see JJ Redick. You know, he played here in Philadelphia. He now is the president of the Lakers, what he has to say about all of this. But again, LeBron James will continue to play. It just won't be in Los Angeles. So these are some of the things that we're talking about now until 2 p.m. The House floor has opened up. You know, this is a time where they talk about things that are happening in and around their own districts. We're going to listen in. This is live.
Her wonderful family in my office. Her courage in the face of frightening disease was profound. As a patient, she founded a nonprofit dedicated to providing pediatric hospital patients with pajama blankets and socks. Thanks to the exceptional care she received at Children's Mercy Hospital, Kansas City, and an aggressive 12-week chemo plan, Lalana's cancer is now in remission. Today, Lalana dedicates her time to advocating for other patients and families navigating through serious illnesses. Mr. Speaker, I ask that my colleagues join me in celebrating Lalana's accomplishments and wishing her continued success in the years ahead. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields. For purposes, does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, before there was the Declaration of Independence, there was Halifax, North Carolina. More than 250 years ago, 83 delegates gathered in Halifax with the courage to take a bold stand. Through the Halifax Resolves, the first colony officially called for independence from Great Britain. That's why North Carolina proudly carries the title First in Freedom. The journey of American independence traveled through eastern North Carolina, where brave individuals believed freedom was worth the risk. Their courage helped change the course of history. As America prepares to celebrate 250 years, let's remember that every generation has a responsibility to protect the freedoms they fought to secure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may God bless our wonderful country, the United States of America. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. For what purposes the gentlewoman from Maryland seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
The gentlewoman from Maryland is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the Severance Sailing School team. This spring, these students made history by becoming the first team to ever win both the Baker and the Mallory national championships in the same season, and these victories did not come easily. In the Mallory competition, the Admirals made a critical comeback from third to first place, despite dicey wind conditions, to win their second title. 4 graduating seniors, Alex Baker, Charlotte McDonald, Annie Sitzman, and Annabella Ulak, even missed their commencement ceremony.
All right, so we're going to dip out of there. They're talking about a couple of things related to their own specific district. So the House floor will be open. We will go back there. Here in Philadelphia, we care about America's birthday. Celebrations are basically underway for America 250. The problem is Mother Nature decided to get in the way of our plans. Chris O'Connell is on that story today. Hey, Chris.
Good afternoon, Jen. Yeah, what a week to have a heat wave extended over 100 degrees when we're about to celebrate our nation's birthday, have the last game of the World Cup, and all kinds of things. So, yeah, the city now preparing for what could be an extended heat wave across some of our biggest days. What conceivably, Jen, could be the biggest day this city has ever seen. So we're out here right now. You can see it is lots of people out here. They're getting prepared for all kinds of festivities throughout the week. We're here at the Liberty Bell. We already spoke with a couple tourists who are here, and although they say they're glad to be here, they're not so happy that we're going to have 100-degree plus heat while we're here. We also talked to the city, the deputy commissioner of the health department, and they say they are taking precautions. First of all, they prepared for this. This is one of the things that when the World Cup was coming, when the America 250, they knew it would be in the middle of the summertime. So they knew this could be a possibility. So luckily, they had a plan in place already to deal with the heat. So some of the things they're doing, number one, a lot of times when we have extended heat emergencies, they open up cooling centers. They're going to have the expanded number of cooling centers, places like public libraries and those places, even on the Parkway. They have cooling centers and what they call hospitality centers, where you could pick up a map, talk to someone about the local tourist attractions, but most importantly, there's water and there's air conditioning. There's several of those dotted along the Parkway. We were just along the Parkway, the Wawa Welcome America. That is all being set up. They've added more water fountains up there. So they're doing what they can, but mostly what they can do is get out the word and tell people, be careful when you're coming out to this 100-degree plus heat. Drink your water, wear your hats, go in when you can, and do whatever you can, because, again, this is nothing we haven't dealt with before, but the issue is a lot of people who may be coming in from out of town, even different countries, Jen, that may not be able to deal or understand how to deal with the heat. They want to be sure those people are staying hydrated, staying cool. And also, you have the rest of the city to worry about, our elderly folks, and then those kinds of people who sometimes might need some of that assistance. Check in on your elderly neighbors. Make sure they have hydration. Make sure they're, opening their windows if they only have fans, those kinds of things. So that kind of thing the city is worried about. The bottom line, though, is they prepared for this. We've been through this before, but the concern is for those tourists who are coming in here by the thousands this week.
So, Chris, here's my question. How do they find out? I know that the people who have followed you and you've done a great job, saying this was the plan and giving people the websites and showing people where to go. As you say, they have planned for every potential situation. But let's say you're from Paraguay, who we now know, surprisingly, is going to play on Saturday. How do they find out how to get help, how to get relief from the heat?
Well, right now, through local news media, through social media, hopefully through their social medias, in terms of their local connections. And when they come here, hopefully when they're preparing their trip to Philadelphia, they'll look at the weather, they'll realize it, and hopefully heed those warnings, because we are under an official and excessive heat warning this week, starting tomorrow. So that's going to be posted with all the weather forecasts. And just to let you know here right now, I always carry my digital thermometer with me. It is a good 80 or 90 degrees right now. So when we're talking about the heat wave, we're now 87. We're looking at a 90-degree plus. That's the start of a heat wave that could, be 5 or 6 days of excessive heat. So, and also, Jen, the one thing that Philadelphia just started, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, is police body cameras. Philadelphia police have body cameras. They had them for years now, but they have just over the past couple weeks, you can get the body cam back and forth between someone translated into 120 different languages. So if someone from Paraguay comes and they're talking to someone, whatever language they're in, Portuguese or whatever, they'll be able to hear them and be able to translate that back and forth. That's one thing the city Philadelphia Police Department wanted to implement before this. And that's something they're going to have for forever now, this software available and acted in their body cam. So that's one way they're going to be able to translate that information.
I forgot about that. I'm glad you mentioned it. All right, your toy, your little red toy. Does it give you humidity?
Yes. That might be a dew point. There you go. There's the humidity. 98% humidity.
Yuck.
Right here
Yucky.
on Independence Hall.
Not for
Yes.
me.
It's
I'm
nasty.
chilly in here.
Not fun. Oh, thanks, Jen. Appreciate that.
Dude, I was out there all morning. Be cool. Listen, thank you so much for the help. Is someone saying hi to you? Hi.
Yep.
They love you. Everyone loves that
Hi.
Chris O'Connell. Thank you for bringing us the
Yep.
story of the day. The heat will continue to be that story. Thank you. All right, we do have some breaking news. I mentioned that the Supreme Court and its decisions will probably be an ongoing thread, an ongoing thing that we're going to be talking about. We now know that the Supreme Court has expanded gun rights, and it will consider whether bans on semi-automatic rifles, often called assault rifles, violate the Second Amendment. The justices said they will take up an appeals case asking the court to strike down bans on the AR-15 and similar semi-automatic firearms in the Chicago area and Connecticut. So right now the Supreme Court says it will take up this case. Remember, they have the opportunity to hear the cases or not. Similar laws are in about a dozen states, most of them covering the major cities in the United States like New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. Now, Congress did allow a national assault weapons ban to expire back in 2004. Democrats have supported renewing it in response to a series of mass shootings. States have continued to pass their own laws. The cases that we're talking about here are the latest high-profile disputes over guns to reach the court since its conservative majority handed down a landmark ruling in 2022 that expanded the Second Amendment rights and delivered challenges to firearm laws around the country. The case that I'm talking about is expected to be heard in the fall. So it will be interesting to see that case work its way through the Supreme Court. We get what we call alerts on our computer, and that certainly was one that is getting a lot of alerts. Scholars are already talking about that. One of the other things that we're learning about, the Supreme Court, still back in the Supreme Court on Tuesday, did uphold some state laws that bar transgender girls and women from playing on school athletic teams. And many people are considering that, as you might imagine, a major setback for transgender people and their community. The court's 6-justice conservative majority, which has repeatedly ruled against transgender Americans in the past year, ruled that state bans in both Idaho and West Virginia do not violate the Constitution. The court additionally unanimously agreed that barring transgender girls and women does not run afoul of the federal law known as Title IX, which prohibits sex discrimination in education. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote for the court. He said, quote, "States may maintain women's and girls' sports for biological females to address safety and competitive fairness concerns." He does not believe that Title IX will be overhauled because of this. So certainly some big rulings coming out today. As we know, the court will take a recess over the summer. So this is the time of the year where you do see some of its biggest rulings. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break and be right back. right, so we've been talking about some of the different rulings coming out of the Supreme Court. Birthright citizenship is something that the House Speaker is responding to now.
Democrats won't help us. We got to do it on our own. Yes, ma'am. Second row. Segment.
So birthright citizenship, which as I speak has not come down yet, but it helped hundreds of thousands of formerly enslaved people in Louisiana. Now, do you, as a constitutional lawyer and representative to the descendants of some of those people who were enslaved, agree with the president that it should be done away with?
What was the? I missed the first part of the question.
It helped hundreds of thousands.
No, what was the
It
reference?
has not come down yet, but do you agree with the president that it should be done away with?
What hasn't come down yet?
Birthright citizenship. The last case has not come
Oh, birthright. Sorry, birthright citizenship. Yeah. Okay. Look. Yes. As a constitutional lawyer, I got lots of opinions on this. Okay. Understand what the framers did, and when we added this to our constitutional order, understood what the intent was. I think anybody who looks at this, oh dear, what they rule.
Here we go. Children born in the United States, parents unlawfully or temporarily present, are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. What's your reaction to that?
Well,
this is real time.
I need to read the opinion, okay? But obviously you could say that's a textualist, originalist view. However, I do think that this has been grossly abused in recent years, okay? And that is the case that was being made by the plaintiffs in the case, and we're very sympathetic to that because it is a serious problem. We have it's become a birthing tourism, they call it, a trend where people will just come and you just come onto the soil and have your child, and then they're able to avail themselves of the welfare state and everything else. It's been abused. It's one of those things that was intended to serve a noble and important purpose and has been thwarted and overused and abused. And so I'm sure that we'll continue to look at that. I mean, I'm sure the conclusion from this opinion is going to be that you got to amend the Constitution to fix that. As we all know, it's a big challenge to amend the Constitution. It's only happened 27 times in our whole nation's history, and the reason is because you got to have 2/3 of both chambers of Congress and 3/4 of the states to ratify. It's usually at least a many years long process and very complicated. We'll see. I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion about that. I will say I'm very disappointed in that outcome. I think it subjects the country to serious challenges going forward, and we'll have to deal with it as a Congress. Last one. Yeah, front row. Sorry.
On the housing bill,
Yep.
the president said yesterday that the housing bill is unimportant in his view compared to the Save America Act. I know you want to see the Save America Act passed, but do you share that view that the president said yesterday? He seemed a little bit dismissive of the bill.
No, look,
In your conversations with him, are you confident that it will become law, that he will not veto it? And then are Republicans missing out on that opportunity for him to sign a piece of legislation that you all described affordability as a big issue in the midterm election?
Yeah, it is. The president has a lot going on, and I think it's safe to say he's not read through every line of that piece of legislation. It's a lot to it, and a lot of great things, and he and I have spoken about it quite a bit. He understands all the dynamics here, what he was saying, and legislation. But what he was saying is, in comparison to ensuring election integrity, which is now represented by the Save America Act, nothing is as important because you cannot maintain a constitutional republic unless you have free and fair elections. A government of, by, and for the people is ultimately and foundationally dependent upon that. That's what the president is saying. We all agree with that, and by the way, so do the American people. And that's not to say that there are not also incredibly important issues, and the cost of living and affordability is among them. It's top of mind. I've spent 6 hours in the Oval Office just in the last few days. I think 4 hours on Thursday, over 2 hours yesterday. We talked about all this in great length. The president certainly understands the importance of affordable housing. As he's noted yesterday, he knows as much about housing as anybody because that, in many respects, was part of his portfolio and career. And he understands that we've got to reduce the age of the average first-time home buyer from in their 40s to their early 30s and get back to some sensible market conditions. Now, he also points out that interest rates are a major factor in that, as we all know. Anytime there's a housing boom, there's lower interest rates, and it spurs on that activity. But there are also input costs and the cost of construction and the barriers to entry. We address so much of that in this housing bill that we fought like warrior poets in the House to make sure it was good Republican policy in the end. And it cuts regulations, it reduces costs, it helps spur on construction, and it gives more affordability and availability to more people. The president is 100% in favor of all that. It will become law. I've encouraged him that he should put he has a big, bold signature, as you all know. And I said, sir, you should get the fattest black marker you have and sign your name really big on that, because the results of it, I'm telling you, are going to be very, very good for the American people, and it will fulfill your promises and your desires, sir, to make sure that more people can grasp the American dream. And so I hope he does sign it. If he doesn't, it's still law. We'll still celebrate it. But he's trying to make a point, and I think he's making it very effectively. And the fact that you all ask me every 3 steps down the hallway illustrates that he has achieved the desired objective, and that is to make Save America the #1 thing, because if we don't get that right, everybody's concerned about what happens next. So I think that's a way to summarize it. Thanks for the lifetime commentary on a Supreme Court case I haven't read yet. I'll go do my best and dig into that. Thank you all for the time. Happy July 4th.
We're going to go from the House Speaker over to the House. Again, he was commenting on some of the Supreme Court decisions. Remember, they're going to be on the House floor today, tomorrow, probably dip out early because it is a long weekend, the federal holiday being Friday. So we will go back to the House.
Earn and maintain stability without risking harm to the beneficiaries. This is common sense legislation that everyone should support. I look forward to passing it in the House and sending it over to the Senate. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the rule provides for consideration of H.R.S. 1383, commemorating the 1-year anniversary of the enactment of the Working Families Tax Cuts. Nearly 1 year ago today, House and Senate Republicans delivered on President Trump's promise to cut taxes, deliver affordability, and strengthen our economy for everyday, hardworking Americans. The Working Families Tax Cuts is the largest tax reform passed by Congress in decades, making permanent the tax cuts passed under the first Trump administration and ensuring a tax cut for over 140 million Americans. We saw over $324 billion in tax refunds for both individuals and families in 2025, and approximately 96% of the filers receiving a refund earn less than $200,000 in annual income. Further crucial provisions in this legislation provided numerous deductions for overtime pay, service industry workers who rely on tips, as well as deductions for car loan interest and expansion of the enhanced child credit. American families and workers overwhelmingly benefited from the Working Families Tax Cuts, and President Trump and congressional Republicans delivered for the American people by making these tax cuts permanent. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to consideration of these measures and urge passage of this rule. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Georgia reserves. The gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Georgia for yielding me the customary time, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, let me begin by asking, do Republicans even have the votes to pass this rule? Because if not, then what on earth are we doing here? Wasting more time? Even your own members are fed up, Mr. Speaker. Every week wondering if someone's going to throw a fit, if Donald Trump is going to post something crazy and blow everything up, if Mike Johnson is going to bring something to the floor when he doesn't have the votes. The chaos and the dysfunction around here is unhinged. We wasted hours and hours at the Rules Committee last week debating and voting on a rule that never came to the floor. And for what? Because Congress passed a bipartisan housing affordability bill, and the president had a temper tantrum, refused to sign it, and derailed everything? I mean, really? And why? Because he's still busy trying to fraudulently claim that the 2020 election was stolen, and now he wants to use that as an excuse to try to rig the midterms. Let me remind my colleagues, this is the United States of America. It is still the United States of America. We're not China or Russia or some two-bit dictatorship. This is insane what is going on here. Families cannot afford rent. Folks are priced out of buying a house. And Donald Trump is asking about the bipartisan housing is asked about the bipartisan housing bill yesterday, and he says it's so unimportant. He says it's so unimportant. And then he says, I made a lot of money with housing. The American people are not asking whether Donald Trump made a lot of money in housing. They are asking why they cannot afford it. They are asking why his economy sucks, why their prices are going up, and nobody in this Republican administration seems to give a damn. So now we're back with another rule. Maybe it passes, maybe it doesn't. Who knows anymore? This rule includes a national defense authorization bill with a trillion, that's with a T, $1 trillion price tag. I should tell my colleagues that we already spend more on our military than the next 6 countries combined. I mean, it's an astronomical amount. You know, over another $1 trillion on our military budget. Boy, that's so wild and extravagant, even Dr. Strangelove would be impressed. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me get this straight. You guys want to give Donald Trump over $1 trillion for the Pentagon? Donald Trump, who started an illegal war? Donald Trump, who got 13 American service members killed because he started a war to distract from the Epstein files? That's who you want to give $1 trillion to? I mean, get real. The State and Foreign Operations Bill is a mess, too. It guts all the programs that actually prevent crises before they explode. So when the next war, famine, pandemic, or global breakdown knocks on our door, just remember it was Republicans who set the stage, just like they did when they cut funding for screwworm protection. There's a Social Security disability bill that hands more authority to an administration already targeting programs that working people rely on. And then we get to this Republican self-esteem exercise. Yet another non-binding resolution praising Republicans for the big, ugly bill. Mr. Speaker, I have a secret for you. I checked with my staff. Not a single person has called my office saying, Congressman, I think Republicans should spend time congratulating themselves on a bill they passed last year that took away my health care and is directly responsible for raising my bills. I haven't gotten a single call about that. What exactly is it that my Republican friends are congratulating themselves for anyways? I mean, you passed the big ugly bill a year ago. Since then, gas prices have gone up. Grocery prices have gone up. There's a new war in the Middle East.
So that is Jim McGovern. He's the representative from Massachusetts, obviously very upset with the president, and he's talking about it right there on the House floor live. It's just one of the things that you'll see here Monday through Friday, noon to 2. Give us 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We're coming back here to Philadelphia. Greg Payne has a story I think you're going to want to hear about. All right, this is a highway, right? It's right around South Philadelphia. Beautiful, you know this. The speed limit rarely changes right there, but apparently there is an uphill stretch of Frankfurt Ave where the speed limit has changed. And it's interesting that we find Greg Payne there. I mean, I'm not talking about your driving. I know you're normally on a scooter, probably can't even go that fast. So thank you for doing this story for us.
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, my scooter can get up to 25 miles per hour, which that's what the speed has been reduced down to here on Frankfurt Ave. And so we're on one part of Frankfurt Ave because this stretches quite a bit, a few miles down the road. And it all has to do with, boom, you see it right there. It's the speed cameras. And we've seen these before because, of course, we've seen them on the Roosevelt Boulevard. Then we saw it on Broad Street. Well, now they're here on Frankfurt Ave, and it's reduced the speed down from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. Now, there is a stretch where we were just at, but we came this way to be able to get B-roll of this area as well, get some video of this area. But there is a stretch next to the Morel Plaza that is an uphill situation. And so the cameras are right there when you're going uphill. And of course, if you're going in the opposite direction, you're going downhill. Well, we had saw a post on social media and it really got a lot of traction because it was folks that were upset, especially about that camera location, because they were saying, well, when we're going uphill, we're putting our car, we're accelerating a bit to be able to get up the hill. So we're finding ourselves getting these warnings and getting these tickets because of the fact that we're trying to drive a little bit faster so we can get up the hill. And then there's others that are mentioning when we're driving down the hill, of course, our car is driving a little bit faster as it goes downhill. We would essentially have to literally be just pumping the brakes constantly to make sure that we don't go over that speed, which that speed is 25 miles per hour. Now, there is a leeway with these. It is said that it's about 11 miles per hour over. That's when you would receive that $100 fine. And then from there, the higher speed you travel, the fine just gets a lot higher. But yeah, there's a lot of frustration, especially about that location and where that speed camera is located at. And so folks are kind of pushing back. They're reaching out to their council members because the whole entire stretch of Frankfurt Ave that's being impacted by this speed change consists of Councilmember Driscoll and then also Councilmember O'Neill. So in the post, they were highlighting those two, asking to see if there's some type of change, especially over on that stretch, because folks just feel as though the location of that camera in particular, those cameras in particular along that hill, are just pretty unfair. So we did have an opportunity to speak with drivers over in that area, and the biggest thing, I mean, pretty much the vast majority of the people we spoke with, they're like, yeah, we've gotten warnings already. So the warnings are firing out, but that warning period, that has since ended. I believe it was about 4 days ago that that warning period ended. So now if you are speeding, you are going to receive those tickets. So, I mean, we've already spoken with people that have received the warnings during the warning period. They were highly frustrated about it. Now they're driving extremely slow. But at the end of the day, we know from doing these stories in the past with these speed cameras, the biggest reason behind them, the folks say, the officials say, is that it is for safety. Now, of course, you hear on the other side, the people, they're hoping that it is a safety-related thing, but a lot of times they're like, they feel as though this is some type of cash grab, Jen.
No, it makes sense. I mean, not that part, but it makes sense what they're saying. Where I live, there's an area and they put in speed humps, not speed bumps.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you a while to get used to them. You're not supposed to fly over them. I would hate for someone to do that.
You sound like you do, though. Why are you talking like that? You sound like you do fly over them.
I might have forgotten one was there. And
what's the name of that street?
I can't recall.
Huh?
Nice try.
We need to get some speed cameras over where Jen's
Nice
at.
try. I can't recall. I drive it every day to and from work. I don't know the name of that street. It's called, I don't know. All right, listen, go have some water, get in the air conditioning. Thanks for the story.
All right, thanks, Jen.
Okay. As a reminder, he rides to work on a scooter. He's a grown man, and he rides to work on a scooter. What we're going to do now is go back to the House floor. They are in session. We're going to listen in.
on a consistent basis without requiring common sense measures like requiring officials to notify voters before removing them from the voter roll. That means that eligible voters would risk learning that they have been removed from the polls at the election day. Keeping voter rolls accurate is important, Mr. Speaker, but it must be done by using quality data and best practices to ensure that citizens are not inadvertently removed from the voter roll. In my home state of Alabama, an effort was made to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls using data from the state's Department of Labor. The data was highly incorrect, and what we found is 93.8% of the voters removed were U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens being removed because my state thought that they were using something accurate in removing the voter roll. Let me say this again, 93.8% of the voters removed were U.S. citizens. Mr. Speaker, this is very personal to me. I am a proud daughter of Selma, Alabama, and the representative of Alabama's Voting Rights and Civil Rights District. It was in my hometown 61 years ago where hundreds of foot soldiers like John Lewis shed blood on a bridge for the equal right of all Americans to vote. They marched, they bled, they prayed, and some even died for the right to vote. The so-called SAVE Act makes a mockery of their legacy. As America celebrates its 250th birthday, we in Congress should be working to make voting more accessible, not less. Our democracy functions best when every citizen is given an opportunity to participate in our elections. I urge all my colleagues to vote no on the previous question, no on the rule, and to oppose any efforts by President Trump and Republicans to suppress the voting rights of Americans. Thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman yields. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The key provision of this, one of the key provisions, is the National Defense Authorization Act. This is a bipartisan piece of legislation that is passed every year for the last several decades and passed out of committee with a strong bipartisan vote. I just want to encourage the American citizens to understand this with regard to our national security and our national defense and how important this piece of legislation is. Up to and until 2022, in order to launch a satellite, the United States was buying rockets from Russia. 2022 is the last time we purchased rockets from Russia to launch satellites, and 2024 is the last time we actually used a Russian rocket to launch a satellite. We have to invest in our defense industrial base so that we are not dependent on the enemies of the United States of America to provide for the security of the American citizens. The National Defense Authorization Act, in a very bipartisan manner, does exactly that. This rule needs to pass, Mr. Speaker. We need to ensure that we are not dependent on our adversaries for our national security. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I would just again remind the gentleman and others that we already spend more than 6 of our nearest competitors.
All right. Well, I found his remarks interesting. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we'll be right back. welcome back in, everybody. This is a live camera outside the Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. This is where you want to be over the next 3 to 4 days, because it will be, you know what, I might be wrong. You might want to be inside the casino where it's air conditioned. But I can tell you this, out there on the water is definitely one of the places where people will want to be, because it's going to be triple digits. The feels like temperature will potentially be about 110, 112 degrees. So very, very uncomfortable over the next couple of days. On the other side, someone we're very comfortable saying hello to is our friend Andrew Freund. He got to interview Millie Bobby Brown, among other people. We haven't seen you in a while. Hey, bud.
Hey, Jet. God, I didn't realize you guys were having such a heat wave over there. It's like Palm Springs out there.
It is, but without the Palm Springs.
That's true. Very true.
All right, so wait. This movie is produced by, or executive produced by, Jake Bon Jovi, the Mister.
Yeah. Well, yes, because, Millie and Jake are married, obviously.
Yes.
So that's where that comes into play. And I had a chance to go to New York City to sit down with Millie and her co-star, Jake Partridge, for Enola Holmes 3. And we have some sound. Let's take a look.
Am I dressed for Malta? Like, could is there a free trip for Malta under my seat? Is this like an Oprah thing? Talk to me how being in those settings kind of informs the way you play these characters.
Being in the settings, I think, to be honest, for me, most of all, it's the costumes. That's where it starts. You put on a costume and suddenly your posture's up. Like if you've got a tight waistcoat on, shoulders up, back down, chin up. You're walking, Yeah. And then the space around you, like we owe so much to our set decoration and production designers, because you just walk into a room and they've done it all. Like we had a burnt out room.
Yeah.
That actually required a bit of acting because there was no smoke and we had to pretend that there was smoke in our eyes and that we couldn't, looking around the room, it's hot. So that was actually a bit of acting, but so much of it is informed by your surroundings. You're right.
I want to ask you, Helena Bonham Carter life lessons. What can you tell me about that woman? Because she's so like mysterious, I feel like, to us as an audience. But working with her.
She's one of, gosh, she must be one of my favorite women I've ever worked with. I get a lot of life lessons from women. She's, I don't know, she's very, very similar. Actually, I'm very similar to her.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yeah, from what I know of you and her.
Yeah, we're very, very, we say we're both nuts, but we're good nuts.
Hey,
yeah,
that's the only kind of nuts to be.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, her daughter and I now, like, we're also very similar. So it's actually very funny how kind of connected we all are. But Helena's she's the most talented person. I love watching her work. And most importantly, I like to get to be her fake daughter and her friend.
I mean, because you're both basically Holmes, well, you're Holmes adjacent. I would like you to look at me and deduce something about me in like full Sherlock voiceover. Like what's something you think you could deduce about me? And I'll tell you if it's
like
true
in
or
your
not.
life?
Yeah, or just whatever.
You're casually dating someone.
Are you reading my mind right now? Oh my God, now I'm getting bright red.
Wait, are you serious? No, you could be like, are you in a committed relationship? You're casually dating.
You have more than one skincare product that you put on every day.
Well, yeah. Well, you can tell I'm wearing a makeup right now, so that's why you're saying this.
That's pretty impressive.
That's also pretty impressive.
It's all deductive.
Yeah.
That's also impressive.
I was like
I
the
like
other.
this game.
I know. I'm like, you live in Chelsea or around Chelsea? No.
I live in LA.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you do not give that.
Oh, okay.
Which is a good thing.
I'll take it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that. Okay, good. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, come on. Really? Here's what I have to say.
Okay.
Of course you're occasionally dating. You're always occasionally dating. You're dating. Dude, that's like, I don't give her any credit for that. And I do agree. I like the skincare reference because of course you're wearing skincare. Of course you are.
Hey, Jen, you know what? The thing that I will say about this movie is, this is the third installment. The first film, 76 million views the, first month. And this film is an escape. And I feel like we need this escape right now, especially when it's so hot this weekend. You can stay in sort of the AC and watch this film. But they're detective, Jen. They read me to filth. They read me, Jen. They read me.
Wait, what's the Malta thing? Does the movie take place in Malta?
Yeah, so they filmed. So, okay, I have to say this movie made me want to go to Malta because they filmed this film on location in Malta. And have you been to Malta, Jen?
No, but I would like to.
So I went there once before a few years ago, and it is like one of the most beautiful countries on earth that I feel doesn't, it's not really in the press as much as some of the other European destinations. And the film just takes you to this gorgeous seascape and landscape of Malta. That's why I said to them, I was like, God, this really made me want to go to Malta.
We just interviewed some people that have the job that I would like. They're ranch ambassadors. They're living in London right now. I wonder if I could get the Malta ranch ambassador job and I could just give people in Malta ranch.
I mean, let me call it. I'm going to call up my friends at the Maltese government and we can hook you up, Jen. Don't worry.
I'm sure you know them. When does the movie come out?
Tomorrow. So tomorrow on Netflix. Look for it to be a huge hit, just like the others. The other two had over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I really like this film. As I said, it's such an escape, and we just kind of need that right now. Also, I will say, you see Millie Bobby Brown. We think of her as 11 in Stranger Things as this kid, but she is now, she's an adult now. In the film, there's a wedding, there's a kidnapping. So she is a strong, confident young woman, and it's really nice to see her in this role. I really like it.
Thank you for visiting. Yeah. I know you're busy. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Anytime you want me, Jen, I'll be here.
Do you want to come this weekend when it's 110 degrees?
Actually, I'll be in Palm Springs, so yeah.
With a pool and some drinks.
Yeah, some margs. We got to have some margs.
And some skincare. Put on the SPF.
Of course.
Okay.
Always. Oh, I just ordered it on Amazon, actually, some more sunscreen. So
get out of here. Hey, thank you, Andrew. We appreciate that. I love when they do that. We appreciate the help. All right, why'd I get rid of them so quickly? There's really not a lot of places. Actually, I'm a liar. All right, so we've been talking about the Supreme Court decisions that have been handed down. There are some people outside of the Supreme Court that I believe are about to speak about the birthright citizenship ruling that came down. We're waiting for the chairs of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. We think they're going to be right there at that podium. The Congressional Black Caucus is also supposed to join them, as well as the Hispanic Caucus and leaders of the New Democrat Coalition, along with the Progressive Caucus. All of this, again, is expected to be a press conference following the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship. You know what? Because we're still waiting for that, why don't we take a quick 2-minute break and come right back? welcome back in. We did hear from the House Republicans, and now we're going to hear from the House Democrats. Remember, there are a lot of rulings coming out of the Supreme Court today, but really the Democrats are talking about their agenda for the week.
Gabe Evans, Mike Lawler, Ryan McKenzie, Marianna Miller Meeks, Zach Nunn, Derek Van Orden, and David Valadeo decided that Americans' groceries and doctor visits matter less than someone with a net worth of $50 billion. Imagine what we could accomplish together if Republicans made the wealthiest in our country pay their fair share. As we approach America's 250th anniversary, we should remember the values the nation was founded on, including a government that was founded for and by the people. Not a government that was founded for the wealthy and the well-connected and the well-off at the expense of the working class. Trump and Republicans may always put billionaires first, but House Democrats will always put you first, the American people. It's now my honor to introduce the Vice Chair of the Democratic Caucus, Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. Today is the 250th, well, this year is a celebration of the 250th anniversary of our amazing country. It is a glorious country, and one of the reasons that we have such an amazing country is our ability to evolve and to become a better place. So 250 years ago, I could not have been a citizen of the United States. I was not born in the U.S., but because of laws that Congress passed, my parents were able to come here, immigrate legally, and then I was able to become naturalized. 250 years ago, Lauren Underwood and Lori Trahan and Debbie Dingell could not have voted. But because of a constitutional amendment and the people of America, women's suffrage happened. And then today, we learned from the Supreme Court that one thing did and still holds true, that if you are born in the United States, you are a citizen of the U.S. And I'm relieved and very happy that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of birthright citizenship today. And that is what makes America great. We continue to be the best in the world because of the diversity of our country. Inflation is up, gas prices are up, grocery prices are up, and what are Trump and Republicans focused on? A giant arch to honor Donald Trump. Putting Donald Trump's face on U.S. passports, putting Donald Trump's face on a $250 bill, putting Donald Trump's name on airports, putting Donald Trump's name on federal buildings. This is not what the American people want, nor what the president promised. So we ask Trump and Republicans to focus on reducing costs. That's the number one issue facing America, and stop putting Trump all over Washington, D.C. And now it's my honor to introduce Debbie Dingell, their terrific chair of the Democratic Policy and Communications Committee, and she's going to tell you about the great work we're doing in terms of messaging the American people about what Democrats would do if we were to change the makeup of Congress.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to make it, today is a birthday. I'm very proud of our 250th birthday of this country, and everybody should go back and read the Declaration of Independence. Remind ourselves what they fought for and what we're still fighting for today. So I'm proud of our birthday, and I'm not letting the American people own this birthday. But today, the Republicans are, I would never use the word celebrate, but it is the anniversary of the day that President Trump signed, and I will not call it what he signed. I don't think the American people think it was one big blank bill. I have called it one big shitty bill. I have called it one big bad bill. I've used a lot of other expletive deletives, and everybody asked me to behave today. So I'll try to behave. I'm going to tell you the truth, though, because 1 year later, working families, working families haven't felt any kind of benefit. And if you got out of the bubble of the White House or the mall, you would know what's really happening to working families. They're living with the consequences. Just this weekend, I heard from people everywhere about the cost of gas, about the cost of housing. I went in the grocery store, and the stories, a mother came up to me, and she's a single mother, and her child's got asthma, and she can't afford the inhaler because she couldn't afford the Affordable Care bill this last year. And Medicaid's being cut, which is also the only source for many families and children, and it's the largest payer of long-term care in this country. People are worried. Parents are worried about whether they can afford health care for their family. Seniors are worried about whether they can get their medicine. And I was with a woman last week whose husband has Alzheimer's, is close to dying. And she looked at me and said, who's going to take care of me? Where is the money going to come from? You know, and people are also, those are the stories that just get me. And people are asking whether the hospitals that they've relied on will still be there when they need it. Michigan has closed 10 lines since this bill passed. Hospitals are disappearing in rural America. So I'm going to say their fears are real because of this bill. President Trump and Republicans chose to finance massive tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans by taking health care and food assistance away from millions of people. And I just want to remind people, we couldn't come back and deal with the Affordable Care. How long were we out? But we had to come back during 4th of July week to make sure those billionaires got their tax cuts that didn't even expire to the end of the year. This bill included the largest cuts to health care and food assistance in our nation's history, all while delivering more than $1 trillion in tax cuts to the top 1%. We got new figures yesterday. Over 8 million Americans have already lost their health coverage. You know what they've lost in food assistance. And as I keep saying, rural hospitals, nursing homes, community health providers are facing impossible financial pressures. And while families are paying more for their health care, their groceries, and energy, wasn't it nice that the president said the housing bill that was actually passed by a bipartisan group, he called it a yawn yesterday. My people at home don't call it a yawn. They're scared. Young people cannot find housing they can afford.
All right, so there's a lot of people talking about the Supreme Court decisions. The birthright decision is one of the main ones that people are talking about. We're going to go live to the Attorney General and their office in New York to hear what they have. It's New Jersey, and hear about it.
They could open a Chinese restaurant and another Chinese restaurant. They could hire people. They could build a business. They could have more kids. And my sisters who have also done great things with their lives and contributed. And it meant that in one generation, I could go from my parents' Chinese restaurant on Park Street in Hartford, Connecticut, to be the 25th elected Attorney General of the state of Connecticut. This is the enduring truth and power and promise of our country. I tell you that story not because it's a good story, and it's a good story, but I tell you that story because it's unremarkable, because it's normal. So many people share my story. So many people live this truth every single day. And that's why what the Supreme Court today was, it didn't just issue a legal decision, didn't just issue another court opinion. It ratified again. This is a second ratification of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, where they confirmed one more time, in case it wasn't clear, that the 14th Amendment and the Citizenship Clause means what it says, and it says what it means. If you're born in America on American soil, you're an American, period. And Justice Roberts said, it reaffirms and remakes the promise of the 14th Amendment. A promise, he used this word, promise. A promise that Ronald Reagan articulated when we were kids. Ronald Reagan made a famous speech, and he said, the essential character of our nation is that you can come from anywhere in the world, okay? It doesn't matter where. And you can come to America and you can be an American. If you go to France and you're born in French, it doesn't mean you're a Frenchman. He said this. If you're born in Germany, it doesn't mean you're German. If you go to Japan or Turkey, it doesn't mean you're Japanese or Turkish. But if you come here from any corner of the globe, you can be an American. That is the enduring promise and hope and aspiration of all Americans, of all of us. We live it every single day. And that's why this decision is so important and core and central to who we are as people. And with that, let me turn it over to my very good friend who has his own immigrant experience and story, the Attorney General of California, Rob Bonta.
Thank you, A.G. Tong. Really appreciate your passion and your personal story, and grateful for your leadership and partnership on this and so many issues, and grateful to be here at the AG Davenport.
So we're listening to a variety of attorneys general from different states talk about the birthright citizenship ruling from the Supreme Court. We're also waiting for this caucus to get going. It's a group of different caucuses that are all joined in front of the steps of the Supreme Court. They're still doing mic checks and things like that, but safe to say this issue really has people all across the country talking today. So we're going to go back to the Attorneys General press conference. Oh, they're going? We're going to go to the caucuses.
Colleagues and fellow caucus leaders for joining us today to fight for our immigrant communities, for our Constitution and a core promise of our nation. If you are born in America, you are American. That's right. Yeah. Born in the USA. Today, the Supreme Court upheld the promise of birthright citizenship, which was established more than 150 years ago by the 14th Amendment and affirmed in the landmark case United States versus Wong Kim Ark, which determined that Wong Kim Ark, the son of Chinese migrants born in San Francisco, was an American citizen. The Supreme Court ruled in his favor even at the height of the Chinese Exclusion Act, because the 14th Amendment is abundantly clear: all persons born in the United States means all persons. That's right. It is because of people like him and the generations of Black Americans who fought to secure their rights through the 14th Amendment that I, the daughter of immigrants, could become a citizen by birthright and serve in the halls of Congress. Yay. It is how millions of Asian Americans, 65% of whom are foreign-born, more than any other ethnic group, could pursue the American dream. So as we celebrate today's ruling, I have a message for President Trump. You may believe you are above the law. You are not. You may try to divide Americans based on race, religion, or their country of origin, and you will fail. You may try to redefine what it means to be an American, and you will fail. We are American. We belong here. And no wannabe king will ever take that away from us. Yeah. I want to give a special shout out to the ACLU, Co-Counsel's Asian Law Caucus, Legal Defense Fund, Democracy Defenders Fund, the House Litigation Task Force, and all the advocates here today who fought to defend our fundamental rights and close Immigrant Heritage Month with this victory. With that, I'd like to hand the mic over to our fearless leader, Chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Adriano Espaillat.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Thank you. What you see behind this podium is the faces of America, the different faces of the tapestry that is called the United States of America, an experiment of elastic values that stretches in many directions and many ways. That is what you see right here behind this podium, who America is. And today the Constitution won. The American people won. As part and chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, we were happy to be part of this lawsuit. As friends of the court, we came in to make our statement felt in the highest court of the land. An unequivocal statement, an American statement, that we will not be held to a different standard, that our children that are born here are U.S.-born children, irregardless of our status, and that we belong and we deserve to have all the rights and privileges extended to all Americans by the U.S. Constitution. Trump tried to erase one of our nation's clearest constitutional guarantee, and he failed. We won, and he failed. We're right, and he's wrong. Birthright citizenship is protected, is shielded by the 14th Amendment and by the sacred document called the Constitution. No president has the power to decide who an American is. The Constitution states it, and it does it in a very transparent and clear way. As MAGA extremists push a dangerous and divisive vision rooted in fear and exclusion, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus stands united to defend our Constitution, everybody's Constitution, your Constitution, yours and yours, all of us. We are the owners of that document, the Constitution, an elastic document that will stretch to include everybody. And so we will continue to stand united to defend that document, protect our freedoms, and fight for America, for every child, so that every child has the opportunity to achieve the American dream. Hoy ganó la Constitución y ganó el pueblo americano. Donald Trump intentó de eliminar una de las garantías más sagradas, más importantes de nuestra Constitución y fue derrotado, fracasó. La ciudadanía por nacimiento es protegida por la 14 enmienda de la Constitución y ningún presidente tiene el derecho a eliminar esa gran garantía para todos nuestros hijos. Mientras los extremistas de MAGA impulsaron una agenda basada en el miedo, el caucus hispano se lanzó adelante de nuevo y a través de un litigio se unió a esta acción legal como amigos de la Corte para que este fallo fuera hoy un éxito. Le doy la gracia a los miembros del caucus. Yo creo que de muchas maneras nosotros le hemos enseñado a este pueblo, a esta ciudad, cómo pelear a favor de los emigrantes, porque nosotros somos emigrantes también y nunca vamos a olvidar eso. Gracias. With that, I introduce Congressman Troy Carter. Sorry. All right. And then you.
Thank you very much. I am Congressman Troy Carter, representing the great state of Louisiana, the first vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. I want to thank my colleagues in the House Democratic Caucus for their presence and their leadership here today, for the congressional team of caucuses that you see here today, standing in unison, recognizing the importance of this day and this victory. The 14th Amendment was written into the Constitution during Reconstruction to ensure that no one could deny or question the citizenship of formerly enslaved Americans because of their race. Today, more than 150 years later, that constitutional guarantee has withstood Donald Trump's unconstitutional assault on one of our nation's most fundamental promises. The history and the gravity of this moment should not be lost on any of us. The fact that we've arrived at a moment where an American president would attempt to unilaterally strip Americans of their constitutional birthright is in itself a warning to all of us today, you tomorrow, and who may be next. It reminds us that our rights cannot be taken for granted. Donald Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship was an attempt to unravel one of the Constitution's clearest guarantees, that citizenship is a constitutional right, not a privilege that any president can give or revoke. While that shameful effort has failed, we're under no illusion that Donald Trump and his allies will stop attacking our fundamental freedoms, our diversity, and the constitutional rights of the American people. Nor are we under any illusion that the role of the Supreme Court has chosen to play, not one of being the arbiter of interpreting the law, but one that is succumbing to the pressures of a president who simply wants his way. As we've seen here in this term, from the Calais decision.
So again, the Congressional Caucus leaders are speaking about the birthright citizenship ruling that came down from the Supreme Court today. But there were several different decisions that did come down. That's why we have one of our favorite attorneys. He's going to join us in 2 minutes. We're talking about political spending, the birthright citizenship, and so much more. We're going to be right back. Once again, we're looking at a live picture of the Supreme Court of the United States. We call that SCOTUS. A lot of people are talking about the SCOTUS rulings, and that's what they're talking about, the Supreme Court of the United States. And one of the big rulings, you saw the press conference there, you saw the attorneys general talking about it. The Supreme Court did uphold birthright citizenship, rejecting President Trump's executive order that sought to deny citizenship to children that were born in the U.S. to people that were either in the country temporarily or illegally. Andrew Montour is one of our favorite attorneys. We love to see him. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jen. How you doing?
I'm good. All right, so let's begin with the birthright citizenship. It was a ruling that, candidly, all of the newsrooms in the United States had been waiting a couple of days to hear. What are your thoughts on the ruling?
Yeah, so I think what's interesting on the ruling is how you've had a little bit of a, one swing justice on this. I think Justice Roberts has always, at least historically now, has kind of been the one swing vote from one side to the other. But I think the X factor has been Justice Coney Barrett and how she has played a role in this. And she was one of the justices that decided. The quote from Judge Roberts in his decision was, "Citizenship then and now was the right to have rights to freely participate in our political community, and the framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land." And that's the holding decision from Chief Justice Roberts, who, my understanding, wrote the opinion.
About a ruling that happened during Civil War, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it was right during Reconstruction. Is really when you had the formation of the 14th Amendment, and this essentially, essentially reaffirms some of that holding that took place during that Reconstruction era.
Do I get credit for knowing it happened during that time?
You do, yeah, absolutely. Kudos.
Okay. All right. Another one of these rulings that a lot of people had been waiting to hear is the ruling. It's a transgender ruling. It basically, the Supreme Court upheld 2 state laws that banned transgender girls and women from school athletic teams. So we're talking about 2 different states, but we do believe this could have a widespread effect, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately what is so significant with the ruling is it was pretty clear in the language that's used in the opinion that was written from Justice Kavanaugh, and it says that essentially we hold that the states may maintain women's and girls sports for biological females. They've really kind of narrowed it down that that's what it is, and I think ultimately it has some pretty significant implications, because this isn't just, even as the way I understand it, it's not simply that they can't participate in matches or games. The way that the courts phrase it is, this ban is absolute. That would really kind of remove.
Did we lose him? You know what? We lost him. He was having some technical difficulties there. Andrew, we'll get back to you at some point. But basically, it looks like he had some technical difficulties. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're going to be right back. Try this one more time. You see Andrew there. As we lost you, technically, you were saying that the ruling with this transgender ruling, it's something is absolute, but we didn't get what you were trying to say.
Yeah, so what I was stating was the word that Justice Kavanaugh used, it really was boiling it down to biological sex. So it doesn't draw into any type of, they're really making it from a biological standpoint. And I said that it was absolute, meaning the ban. It doesn't sound like it's even something where you could have transgender athletes even practicing with biological females or males or vice versa. It is strictly an absolute ban. That's the wording that they used.
That's interesting, because we've seen a lot where it's like if they make a transition before puberty or if they just want to practice with the team, they just, so your observation is astute on that one. All right, so the last one is, this is really interesting. The Supreme Court strikes down federal limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with congressional and presidential candidates. So this means everyone can give money. There's not a lot of political spending rules. Do I have this right?
You do. I mean, so ultimately, the seminal case was Citizens United back in 2010. And I think what you've seen in subsequent cases is this has just further, I guess, even kind of pared down or watered down limitations on political spending. But you're absolutely correct. It really opens it further for both parties. And the court has just, I would say, you know, you hear so much about super PACs and things of that nature, and it has further just extended the ability for financing in political spending.
Yeah, and I think the reason a lot of people wanted this to go away because they found in many cases if a group has an agenda and a lot of money, they can send that money to a politician and get their way in terms of votes. That was like the background for some of these limits initially, correct?
Correct. But ultimately, the court has said this is a First Amendment right for financing, and that to restrict it would be a violation of the First Amendment.
Okay, that makes sense. So I think it was, you know, a lot of people were thinking, you know, this is a conservative leaning court. They were thinking that all of the decisions would go in line with what the Trump administration wanted. And I think 2/3 of it went with what the administration was hoping for, and maybe 1/3 of it went against the president and his administration. Would you say that's how it's kind of shaking out? We lost him again. We love Andrew. We hope he gets all of his technical issues solved because he's an excellent attorney. So thank you very much. All right, at the same time, there is a ton happening right here in our region. Is Shayna ready for us? We are going to go live, I think, to Shayna, who is working on, no? You know what we're going to do? Oh, we are. We are going to go live to Shayna, working on a troubling story. Good afternoon to you, Shayna.
Hey, yeah, good afternoon. So yeah, just not the way you want to start the week leading up to the 4th of July. So just last night, there was a dispute that happened in this neighborhood in Brewery Town between some neighbors about fireworks, and it turned into gunfire. I'll step out of the way, and so you could see the markings that are still left on the ground. 3 people were shot. This was a triple shooting here. We're on the 1600 block of Newkirk Street, and this is what's left behind as investigators are just beginning their investigation. But from what we understand, there were fireworks that were going off. A dispute, a fight broke out about those fireworks, and the fireworks turned into gunfire. We know at least 3 people, as I mentioned, were shot. 2 of them at this point are in critical condition. We know one person was shot in the knee, the other one was shot in the back, and the other one was shot in the chest. So definitely a lot of people impacted by this. We actually spoke a short time ago. One of the victim's brother walked right up to me and luckily told me that his sister, the one that was shot in the knee, is stable, expected to be okay, didn't hit any major arteries, which is great, but certainly a scary start to 4th of July week as we gear up for the celebrations. Of course, fireworks being culturally part of how we celebrate here in the U.S., so it's definitely something that has really captured this neighborhood and certainly instilled fear in a lot of people. So coming up later on in the shows, you're going to be hearing from some of these neighbors. One of them that was actually woken up from her sleep from all the banging and the screaming. And again, you'll be hearing from the victim, one of the victim's brother, coming up later on. But it's definitely a tough situation here, and seeing all of the markers is definitely a reminder of that.
Yeah, and you know, even though it's not life-threatening, being shot in the knee will really change that person's life in terms of physical therapy, and no one, as you said, no one wants it anytime, especially July 4th week. So Shayna, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. We were looking in on the Attorneys General press conference. They were talking a bit about the birthright citizenship ruling. We're going to go back there. It's still happening live. 3 different states, 3 different attorneys general.
Thanks. Just wanted to thank the members of the press who joined us today. Any
state-specific follow-ups, please just refer them to the respective state attorneys general communications teams. Thank you again.
Thank you, AGs Campbell, Davenport, and Tong. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Glad to
Bye,
fight with
everyone.
you.
Welcome. We're happy to join you. All right, we've been talking to a couple different people about the LeBron James thing. If you didn't join us earlier, LeBron James has apparently notified the Lakers that he will be returning to basketball next season, but he will not be in Los Angeles. The free agency deadline for the NBA is 6 p.m. tonight. So it certainly is something to be watching. We're going to be watching sports, obviously, because of the Phillies and because of FIFA World Cup. So sometimes you pay a little bit of attention to it, but it will be interesting to see where LeBron James ends up. Also, many people wondering where his son Bronny will be playing next year. 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Right there, that is Philadelphia Stadium. And on July 4th, when it is 172 degrees, I'm kidding, when it's going to be very, very hot, we're still waiting to see who will play there for the FIFA World Cup. What we do know, Paraguay will be one of the teams because a massive upset yesterday with a ton of penalty kicks with Germany. People had already put Germany in that stadium, and they believed, and they still believe it will be France as well, but it will be Paraguay. Scott Grayson is here. He is the executive producer of sports here at Fox 29. Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. Okay, so have you been to any of the games?
I have not. Breland's been down there.
No, you have to go.
I haven't been able to enjoy it yet. I know I'm enjoying everything around the city, though. I love seeing the people outside the station here walking by.
It's been
from all
fun.
the country. It is great.
I had the opportunity to go see one of the games when France played there last time.
Yep. They could be back.
They could be back. I was watching last night with people who are going to 3 games. They're a soccer family. They've traveled to Brazil to watch the matches. They're invested, right? Yep. And their opinion on the free kicks, because there was a big upset, 2 big upsets. The Netherlands and Germany both were upset in a free kick. Mike Jarek this morning was like, no one wants to see the free kicks. The true soccer fans don't like the overtime 15 minutes on each side. They want that wiped away.
Just straight to the kicks?
Get to the kicks.
I would I like the fact that there is at least an overtime period to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, 2 of them technically, and it's different than anything we're used to in the U.S. with the other sports. Like football, it's sudden death. Boom, anybody scores, done. Baseball, extra innings, you play your inning and then it's over if somebody has the lead. Here, you play those 2 overtime periods.
But
the
hockey, you do
exciting.
get the
You do, but first you have overtime.
You do. Lacrosse is the same way, just so you know.
Okay,
They call it
yep.
Braveheart. So there is, with a goal, there's a couple, keep going.
So I thought it was extremely exciting.
Yeah.
Watching the Germany-Paraguay especially, went to even a sixth kick.
Yeah.
And guys missed the net. I mean, it was crazy how, like, you have
Yeah.
one job, put the ball on net, and if the guy stops it, he stops it.
Right.
But you miss the net entirely.
They kicked over it.
I know. Each team did it. I think it's really exciting. It is a shame, though. I will say this. It's a shame that 4 years of preparation,
Yeah.
4 years of all that, in Germany's case, 4 years of all that leading up to the expectation that they would be there potentially at the end, ends on kicks.
Yeah.
I can understand people who say that's a horrible way to decide it, but you can't have these guys running around for 120
No!
minutes and
What do
then
they-
tell them to run around more.
Don't they say a traditional? I think I went to a Union game and they said, regulation minutes, 90 minutes. They like a traditional player runs like 15 miles or
Yeah,
something.
I've heard that too.
We don't realize how much they're running, and it's the only sport where they're running and their foot is doing the work as well.
And you're limited on how many substitutions you
Yeah.
can have. So it's not like you can freely keep sending people. And then once they come out, they can't
They're
go
done.
back in. It's
Yeah.
not like basketball. So, yeah, I think, you're asking them to run a lot to play even those extra
Yeah.
15-minute periods. I think going to the kicks is the only way you can ultimately decide it. I just think it's a shame for the team that loses that that's how it ends.
Yeah. Well, again, hockey, we do the same
We
thing.
do.
I'm not known for staying.
Not in the playoffs, though.
Really?
No, you could have 6 overtimes in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I didn't know that because I went to a game not this season but last season, and it went to what do they call that? A shoot-off?
Yeah, shootout.
And Matvei Michkov got the goal. It was
Yeah.
really exciting.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not known for staying until the end, and certainly not the end of the end of the end.
I would have thought you would stay to the
No,
end, Jen.
I'm gonna leave early,
Beat
show
the
up late.
traffic?
Yeah. All right, you mentioned basketball. We now know that LeBron James has notified the Lakers and JJ Redick that he is going to play next year or this upcoming season, but he's not going to play in LA.
No, he's going to continue that quest, I guess, to try to play for every team in the league at some point. No, yeah, my first thought is he's going to try to go play with Steph Curry at
That's
Golden
what the
State.
internet says.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's kind of thinking. We'll see what happens.
But isn't Steph Curry, he's not the Steph Curry of like 7 years ago.
He's not, but LeBron seems to want to hitch his wagon to other players and see if they can, hey, we can do this together. I mean, LeBron's been playing forever.
Yeah.
And he's apparently going to keep playing, as he said, not with the Lakers. It is interesting to see how it all works out. And everybody who's a Sixers fan, if you're looking for LeBron, don't expect him here. They have no money to pay him. And beyond that, I think, frankly, he's not a good fit here.
Yeah.
This team is old already with Joel Embiid and Paul George. So
Will Bronny go with him, his son?
That's a great question. I hadn't thought about that side of it yet. Yeah, I don't. Because
Can he? I mean, I'm sure there's contracts.
that's what I'm thinking through my
yeah.
head about the contract situation. He's LeBron. He seems to dictate what he wants to do. If
Well,
he were
his
to try
the
to,
super agent,
Right.
It really.
and he does try to take care of his son. That being said, I don't know how quickly that could happen or what would need to happen in order for him to make the contract way paved
Yeah.
for his son to go with him. But it's an interesting thought.
Tonight, 6 p.m. free agency opens. Do you think we'll hear tonight at 6:01 where he's headed?
LeBron, no, he seems to like the attention that he draws out.
There'll
from this.
be
Remember,
another announcement.
Remember, yeah,
I
he's
love
taking
an
my talents to
announcement.
South Beach. Who can forget that?
I love an announcement. Are we getting an announcement?
I think he likes the attention, and I would be shocked if he just instantly said where he was going.
You know, Jim Driscoll is the boss of this show. He needs to give me I have an announcement. I'm going to have a double latte for breakfast
There
this
you go.
morning. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right, I've been watching baseball. This.
It's that time of year.
You know what? Down here is
Oh,
a Mets.
yeah.
He's a Mets fan.
It's fun to watch the Mets right now, isn't it?
I know it's so much fun because they're so bad.
It's comical.
And I don't know if you know this. I went to the really historic game where Price hit for the cycle
Yep.
and 2 home runs in the same inning
For Kyle.
for Kyle. And we were like, as a family, we're known for being unkind to Juan Soto. And so, because we want to let him know how
He
poorly
brings
we
that
think-
on himself.
Yeah, but the fact that it got done to him was amazing.
Yes.
So, talk to me about what you feel about this team right now.
So what I feel about this team right now is that they've figured out a lot of things. Do they still have issues? Absolutely. But they're getting timely hitting. When you look at this team in the playoffs and you say, okay, I know what Aaron Nola did last night.
Yeah.
And I know they don't have a fifth starter right now, but they got 3 pretty good ones. And I would expect they're going to try to do something to get a 4th one around the trade deadline. So with 3, though, you can get through a 3-game series if you're in the wild card with Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo.
Okay.
You can get through the division series, which is a best of 5 with 3 starters. So you don't have an issue until you get to the NLCS. Now, I understand that matters. And you're going to need a 4th starter there. But I like the whole idea of having Aaron Nola coming out of the bullpen. I think he can give you 2 to 3 really good innings.
Do you think that's where he's
It's the
headed?
Rav 4th inning where he seems to get
I
wrecked. But I think that might be where this is going. I think they might look to get a starter at the trade deadline that could be a 4th starter that allows them to also help their bullpen by knowing that at least in the playoffs, Aaron Nola will go back there and help.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, look, I'm excited by this team. I think they've given us every reason to believe in them again. I know there's a lot of people out there who say, show me in October. But then you're missing the excitement of what this is giving you.
I'm hopeful for October, and I'm happy about now. Now listen, we are now about 10 days, almost 11 days away from the All-Star game. And
coming.
The last time we talked, we were like, maybe Kyle Schwarber. Now there's a real shot that more of our guys will be playing in that game.
So I will be disappointed if the following players are not there.
Okay.
Brandon Marsh, to me, needs
Absolutely.
to start.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber won't be able to start because Shohei Ohtani got the most votes, so he's automatically
And there was a
gonna start.
debate over whether he'll be the DH or if he'll pitch.
See, that's the one thing. If he were to start as
Do I get
pitcher,
credit for knowing about this?
no, I'm impressed. If Shohei were to be the starting pitcher, I would assume that opens up then the opportunity for Kyle to be the starting DH. But if Shohei Ohtani is the starting pitcher, which he shouldn't be this year, that means both Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez are going to get, looked over for what, in my opinion, they
Christopher
should be.
Sanchez should be a starter.
Or like Wheeler, honestly, to me, has a lower ERA than Sanchez now. But
Oh.
Sanchez had that scoreless inning streak. Both of them, to me, need to be considered.
Okay.
So I don't want to see Shohei Ohtani there. But anyway, getting back to my list, it would be Brandon Marsh, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, 20 home runs. He should be, I dare say it, Dave Dombrowski, I think he's showing he's back to being elite.
He's back.
And then I think you've got Christopher Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, there's 5.
Yeah.
Joan Duran also needs to be there. To me, there need to be 6 Phillies in this game.
Wait, oh yeah, the closer.
The closer.
That was the cool thing. We were at this game and they were up, I think it was like 13-2 or something, 15-3. And again, because I'm a leave early girl.
Sure, you missed the show.
I was there for that.
There you go.
I didn't think we'd get it. I had never seen that in person.
It's awesome.
You've seen it.
Could you imagine? See, imagine Philadelphia in a couple weeks at the All-Star game. It's dark. It's
And he's the
nighttime,
closer?
and he comes out to close the game.
Do
Wouldn't
they
that
do
be
that?
awesome?
They'll do
oh
it.
yeah. And if he doesn't come out to close, say he pitched the 8th inning,
They would do it.
they would still do it. I think he'll definitely throw that night so they could play that show at the All-Star
I
game.
love that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Okay, you've given us great hope.
It's what I try to do
anything
around
else
here.
negative that you'd like to say about the Mets while JP is here?
Is it negative though if they entertain us? I mean, there's 6 errors in one game.
Yeah, it's so good.
I go to my kids' baseball games. Like, I could see a T-ball game, and I don't know if I'd see 6
Right,
errors in the game.
wiffle ball would be
Sure.
They know what they're doing.
But the Mets are gonna Met.
The Mets are gonna Met.
And we love 'em for that.
I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much. And a piece of advice: you have
Yes.
one more chance to go to a World Cup game. It's Saturday.
I know.
Breland's gone to them. You
I
can't
know,
sneak
I
your
know.
way in on a
Well,
platform.
I think I'm going to be over here covering the All-Star Game announcement. They're announcing the team right over there in front of Independence Hall.
Wait a minute. At the same time?
Right after
on
that
the 4th.
game. On the 4th.
What time is that?
The what?
The
The
announcement.
game is at 5
Okay.
over at Philadelphia Stadium, and the announcement will be 7:30 on Fox.
I like it.
Of
Can you
who
go from 5 to 6? He's wrapping me up.
I
The
know.
beginning is where
It's
you want
'cause
to be
he's a
there
Mets
with the
fan.
flags. With the flags.
Oh yeah, that's
You wanna
pretty
do
neat.
that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be back in a minute. You want to go with the flags though.
Gotcha.
Tom laughed.
Yeah, it's pretty